Light, everyone. I am, even though this is a week later for you, it's still the same night for me, and I'm pissed off there isn't a season 2. And these are my wolf brothers.
Well, I thought Jeremy was gonna have some news last episode today, and now I don't know what to talk about.
I have some news, and I will be your Buster Bluth of the episode. And I'm pretty sure the blue part is land. So
The Shan-Chan could have just walked there.
Brand land is all water. I don't get it.
If you guys would have just looked the other way, it's like a 20-minute boat ride.
Hey, Columbus, why don't you go that way?
You know, Buster's degree would have really worked out because he had a degree in 18th century
Cartography.
Agrarian. No, he had the degree in 18th century agrarian economics. He's like, he goes, you have a degree in economics? I'm like,
oh,
but haven't they pretty much found everything? Like with Magellan and those guys did a pretty good job.
I don't know, Michael.
A trick is something that a whore does for money. Or candy.
We should do a podcast about Arrested Development. That's a good show.
We're gonna have to if they don't give us a fucking second season because I quit this show.
Seriously, if I had known we were going to have to wait this long, we would have done an Arrested Development podcast for 4 months.
If we want to, we just swap right over to the band Arrested Development and then do another podcast about them.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Thank the light. And I don't drink beers, but I will start drinking beers and we could do a show called Thank the Light Beers. That was dumb as fuck. I hate it here.
I like the idea of Justin. We don't allow him to smoke weed on recording days, and he just gets to crack light beers when we press record.
That would be funny.
No, it wouldn't be because you guys wouldn't get to speak because I'd be so manic and fucking run off the mouth. It'd be like I did an 8-ball of cocaine. I'd be like, what did you guys do today? I don't know. Where was I? I don't know. I was picking up sticks.
And then as the beers slowly kicked in, we'd
You
have
start
a
to
show.
have like a southern drawl. All of a sudden, it starts to sound like Matthew McConaughey.
Be a lot cooler if you did.
What you been doing today? Just chasing green lights, man. Just chasing green lights.
Bro, I'd have to drink probably 30 light beers to get drunk.
Jeremy, tell me something about season 2.
Yes. So we actually have a little bit just of, it's not big news.
I feel like it's going to be a letdown. I feel he's building this up and he's just going to kick us in the dick.
It's gonna be a letdown. But your boy Marcus Rutherford was talking, and he's saying that season 2 is gonna be a little more brutal. It's also gonna start with a time jump. Did you talk on that?
We actually touched on that in the last episode a little bit.
Did you also talk about that they're probably gonna be bringing in, not probably, most definitely gonna be bringing in Fail?
Yeah, they've casted her, I believe.
I think I don't know if I didn't read where they casted.
I retweeted there's a picture of the gal that I think it's supposed to be. And if it is, oh, she's going to be like visually fucking awesome. Yeah, dude.
I know I'm supposed to know who that is, but who is Fail?
You haven't met her yet.
Oh, I don't.
No, you'll meet her pretty soon.
Whoa. Okay.
She meets up with Perrin. That gal would be she would be a great look. Like her look is good for Fail. As long as the person captures the character, it was just kind of like Fail is ridiculous and amazing and childish and immature,
Over the top,
but like, you know, really awesome in so many ways too. Like, I mean, fucking dude,
fiery.
let's talk about it. She fucking gets shit done, dude. Sorry, she's annoying as fuck, but she like handles business. You know what? And what's crazy about Fail is that, you know, Perrin is this like, he's a savage warrior and he becomes a pretty sage, like, I don't know, mayor or like leader. But there's some things that like Fail just handles because it's like Perrin does not want to do it. Because Perrin's just like, I don't want to deal with that. And she's like, yeah, well, this guy's stealing from you. And then he's like preaching against you behind your back, which is treason. So he's going to have to get executed, but you don't need to know about it.
She does take care of things. And I forget about, it's all good. I was listening to book 4 and I forget about the time when her and Bear Lane get into an argument and then she runs Bear Lane down and pulls a knife on her and they get into a fight. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that scene. That's a great scene, which I hope we get to see that.
I would love to get to see that and just fucking like some like good scene where like, you know, they have a pretty good choreographed fight scene where she goes to like stab her and then drops the knife to her other hand and tries to stab her again or some shit.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Get her.
I wonder if Bear Lane will even be in the show. Honestly, she's kind of superfluous.
And if Robert Jordan was writing, there would be ample bosom popping around. Yeah. I agree. I don't think there's any reason for Berlin to be in the show. You can definitely just kind of insert any number of like random, like high ladies who aren't important to the story. The stuff with her and Berlin are good because with Fail and Berlin are good because you know them both. You could get that kind of satisfaction in a TV show with her just whooping up on some high lady who thinks she's the shit for a half an episode,
And honestly, Berlin, what does she do in the long run? Nothing spectacular.
Nothing.
She's not attached to anybody really.
She takes care of the hospital in the last battle is like the most memorable thing.
And her and Galad get together at the end, don't they? I think so.
Yes. No. Yes.
So, and that could be anybody. And Galad might not even be in the show, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. They've cast Gowan. They've cast Elaine. You've heard nothing about Galad.
Yeah.
They've got to they got to start cutting people. And although Galad has like really good stuff later on in the books, way later on in the books, that's a long time where he does nothing.
It's pretty small. And you could give some of that stuff to Logain.
True. Absolutely.
In the last battle.
Yeah.
Like you could combine some of the stuff with Logain. You could have two like little battles where he's fighting two separate people. You could give his stuff to Matt in the last battle because Matt's all over the last battle.
True.
All right, I'm going to hit play on this because it's going to be kind of a long clip. I'm certainly not going to leave it all in the end, but it kind of takes a while for everything to happen. And this is just, we're kind of catching up on, this is just such an interesting clip because it starts out, I don't know, you guys will hear it. This is Nynaeve and Egwene, The Dragon Reborn, Chapter 13, Punishments, but you'll see.
Punishments, but kind of promotions.
Then why are we being treated as criminals? Nynaeve demanded. We were tricked by a woman of the Black Ajah. That should be enough to clear us of any wrongdoing. It may be your salvation that no one in the tower but Varen, Lyanna, and I even suspects you had anything to do with Liandrin. If that were known, much less the little demonstration you put on for the White Cloaks, no need to look so surprised. Varen told me everything. If it were known you had gone off with Liandrin, the Hall might very well vote for stilling the three of you before you could take a breath. That is not fair, Nynaeve said. It is not right. The Amyrlin stood up. That was all, but it cut Nynaeve short. Mother, forgive me for speaking. But what do you intend to do to us? Do to you, child? I intend to punish you and Elaine for leaving the tower without permission, and Nynaeve for leaving the city without permission. First, you will each be called to Shiriam Zadai's study, where I've told her to switch you till you wish you had a cushion to sit on for the next week. I have already had this announced to the novices and the accepted. Punishment, whether extra labors or something else, was always between the mistress of novices and whoever was called to her. Those were usually novices, but included the accepted who stepped far enough beyond the bounds. The announcement is part of the punishment, of course, the Amyrlin went on, as if she had read Egwene's mind. I have also had it announced that you are all three assigned to the kitchens to work with the scullions until further notice. And I have let it be whispered about that further notice might just mean the rest of your natural lives. Do I hear any objections to any of this? No, Mother, Egwene said quickly. Nynaeve would hate scrubbing pots even more than the other. It could be worse, Nynaeve. Light, it could be so much worse. The Amyrlin fingered a paper in front of her on the table and seemed to study it for a moment. When she raised her head, her smile was not at all pleasant. If any of you had been silly enough to answer otherwise, I had something to add to your tally that would have had you cursing your mother for ever letting your father steal that first kiss, letting yourselves be winkled out of the tower like thoughtless children. Even an infant would never have fallen into that trap. I will teach you to think before you act, or else I'll use you to chink cracks in the water gates. Now, as to what else I intend to do with you. It seems you have all increased your ability to channel remarkably since you left the tower. You have learned much, including some things, she added sharply, that I intend to see you unlearn. If I could, I'd put the oath rod in your hands tonight, but as that is reserved for being raised to Aes Sedai, I must trust to your good sense, if you have any, to keep you whole. As it is, you, Egwene, and you, Elaine, are to be raised to the accepted. Elaine gasped, and Egwene stammered a shocked, "Thank you, Mother." Lyanna shifted where she stood. "Do not thank me. Your abilities have gone too far for you to remain novices. Some will think you should not have the ring, not after what you've done, but the sight of you up to your elbows in greasy pots should mute the criticism. And lest you start thinking it's some sort of reward, remember that the first few weeks as one of the accepted are used to pick the rotting fish out of the basket of good ones. Your worst day as a novice will seem a fond dream compared to the least of your studies over the next weeks. Then that's done." The Amyrlin said briskly, "Lyanna, take Elaine down to Shiriam's study. I have a few words yet to say to these other two. Words I do not think they will enjoy hearing." Egwene exchanged startled looks with Nynaeve. For a moment, worry dissolved the tension between them. What does she have to say to us and not to Elaine? She wondered. Elaine grimaced at the mention of the Mistress of Novices' study, but she drew herself up as Lyanna came to her side. "As you command, Mother," she said formally, lowering herself in a perfect curtsy, skirts sweeping wide. "So shall I obey."
So I didn't realize that this went into the next chapter, so we're going to listen to a little bit of the next chapter, because we've only gotten the punishment part of this.
Chapter 14. The Bite of the Thorns. I have kept the worst of it from getting out. But how long will that last? The servants do not know of the stolen Turangrial, and they do not connect the deaths with Leandrin and the others leaving. It was not easy to manage that, gossip being what it is. They believed the deaths were the work of Dark Friends, and so they were. Rumors are reaching the city too, that Dark Friends got into the tower, that they did murder. There was no way to stop that. It does our reputation no good, but at least it is better than the truth. At least none outside the tower and few inside know Aes Sedai were killed. Dark Friends in the White Tower. Faw. I've spent my life denying that. I will not let them be here. I will hook them and gut them and hang them out in the sun to dry. Mother, are we to be punished more? Beyond what you've already sentenced us to? The Amerlin looked over her shoulder at them. Her eyes were lost in shadow. Punished more? You might well say that. Some will say I've given you a gift, raising you. Now feel the real bite of that rose's thorns. She strode briskly back to her chair and sat down, then seemed to lose her urgency again, or to gain uncertainty. To see the Amerlin look uncertain made Egwene's stomach clench. Fingering a carved black box on the table in front of her, the Amerlin peered at it as if looking at something beyond. It is a question of who I can trust, she said softly. I should be able to trust Lyanna and Shiriam at least. But do I dare? Varen? Her shoulders shook with a quick silent laugh. I already trust Varen with more than my life, but how far can I take it? Moiraine? She was silent for a moment. I have always believed I could trust Moiraine. How much did the Amerlin know? Do you know that a young man from my village, a man I used to think I'd marry one day, is the Dragon Reborn? Do you know 2 of your Aes Sedai are helping him? What are you talking about? Nynaeve demanded. The Amerlin looked up at her, and she moderated her tone as she added, You 2 are what I have to work with. Thin reeds, though you may be. Leandrin tried to stuff you head first into a weir, and it may well be she left because she learned you were returning and could unmask her. So I have to believe you aren't Black Ajah. I would rather eat scales than entrails, she muttered. But I suppose I'll have to get used to saying that name. Egwene gaped in shock. Black Ajah? Us? Light. But Nynaeve barked, We certainly are not. How dare you say such a thing? How dare you even suggest it? If you doubt me, child, go ahead, the Amerlin said in a hard voice. You may have an Aes Sedai's power sometimes, but you are not yet Aes Sedai, not by miles. Well, speak if you have more to say. I promise to leave you weeping for forgiveness. I've no patience left. Forgive me, mother. But you should not, we would not do such a thing. With a compressed smile, the Amerlin leaned back in her chair. So you can keep your temper when you want to. I had to know that. Egwene wondered how much of it had been a test. There was a tightness around the Amerlin's eyes that suggested her patience might well be exhausted. I wish I could have found a way to raise you to the shawl, daughter. Varen says you are already as strong as any woman in the tower. The shawl? Nynaeve gasped. Aes Sedai? Me? The Amerlin gestured slightly as if tossing something away, but she looked regretful to lose it. No point wishing for what can't be. I could hardly raise you to full sister and send you to scrub pots at the same time. And Varen also says you still cannot channel consciously unless you are furious. I was ready to sever you from the true source if you even looked like embracing Saidar. The final tests for the shawl require you to channel while maintaining utter calm under pressure. Extreme pressure. Even I cannot and would not set that requirement aside. You are the only 2 in the tower I can be absolutely sure are not Black Ajah. The Amerlin's mouth still twisted around those words. Leandrin and her 12 went, but did all of them go? Or did they leave some of their number behind like a stub in shallow water that you don't see till it puts a hole in your boat? It may be I'll not find that out until it is too late, but I will not let Leandrin and the others get away with what they did. Not the theft, and especially not the murders. No one kills my people and walks away unscathed. And I'll not let 13 trained Aes Sedai serve the shadow. I mean to find them and still them. I don't see what this has to do with us, Nynaeve said slowly. Just this, child. You 2 ought to be my hounds, hunting the Black Ajah. No one will believe it of you. Not a pair of half-trained accepted I humiliated publicly. That is crazy. Nynaeve's eyes had opened wide by the time the Amerlin reached the words Black Ajah, and her knuckles were white from her grip on her braid. She bit her words off and spat them. They are all full Aes Sedai. Egwene hasn't even been raised to accepted yet, and you know I cannot channel enough to light a candle unless I am angry, not of my own free will. What chance would we have? Egwene nodded agreement. Her tongue had stuck to the roof of her mouth. Hunt the Black Ajah? I'd rather hunt a bear with a switch. She's just trying to scare us, to punish us more. She has to be. If that was what the Amerlin was trying, she was succeeding all too well. The Amerlin was nodding, too. Every word you say is true. But each of you is more than a match for Leandrin in sheer power, and she is the strongest of them. Yet they are trained, and you are not. And you, Nynaeve, do have limitations as yet. But when you don't have an oar, my child, any plank will do to paddle the boat ashore. But I would be useless, Egwene blurted. Her voice came out as a squeak, but she was too afraid to be ashamed. She means it. Oh, Light, she means it. Leandrin gave me to the Shanchan, and now she wants me to hunt 13 like her? My studies, my lessons, working in the kitchens. Anaya said I will surely want to continue testing me to see if I'm a dreamer. I'll barely have time left over to sleep and eat. How can I hunt anything? You will have to find the time, the Amerlin said, cool and serene once more, as if hunting the Black Ajah were no more than sweeping a floor.
There's probably a little bit more, but I forgot how long-winded Robert Jordan got there in between punishments.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's a really good part, though, because it's fucking, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a good explanation of Angriel and Turangriel right off the bat. They did say that there are some that you do not have to channel to use, Jeremy, when you walked away.
No, I heard that. Yeah, I got my earbuds in.
Oh, okay.
And we can talk about that right now, but I do have an earmark that'll go even deeper into that.
Well, the twisted ring that Elaine and Egwene has.
Egwene, yeah, well, she doesn't have it yet.
Have you got to that part yet, Des?
They get it in like 2 chapters. That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, they get it. She just doesn't have it as of this clip, but yeah.
But it's one of them. The storm doorways, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a list I was gonna go over after Des brings up his shit.
Yeah, I just want to say, yeah, it's just when I first heard this, I didn't know how they were going to get out of it. Like, they were getting punished so much.
Yeah.
I was just like, how the fuck are they going to dig themselves out of this hole and even try? And then the Amerlin is like, all right, now that I've got that out of the sight so no one will suspect we're in cahoots, let's get in cahoots.
Yeah. Oops, I killed your novice status. Welcome to be accepted.
Yeah,
Oops,
exactly.
You're accepted now. Yeah, it's such.
But only Nynaeve got accepted, right?
Well, no, Nynaeve's already accepted.
When did she get accepted?
Day one.
Oh, right. She's already gone through the...
Like she gets accepted like the second they get back to the tower, and it's she's just like, it's such bullshit because it's like, oh, Scrub Potts also, you are accepted now. It's like, wait, what? And I think it's kind of bullshit. They have so much potential, like the threat of them being, put out of the tower or something, like they would have to be so bad to do that because she says it in the clip, like, you're as powerful as any sister in 1,000 years. So is Egwene, and Nynaeve is quite a bit more powerful than both of them.
And she's like, a Black Ajah will have nothing on you guys, so...
Yeah, what they lack in, experience with the power, they make up for in raw talent, which means that she's saying she's more powerful than her, who is the leader of all the Aes Sedai, and that makes her more powerful than any sister in the tower by far. So that's pretty crazy, if you think of it like that. You don't really have a context for it right now, as much as, Jeremy and I do, because we've all the way to the end, and, you see some shit go down and stuff that she does and you realize it, but you see how strong she is and it makes sense. So
yeah, she's kind of like Nolan Ryan when he first started, all over the place, walking people all over the place, but man, can she throw a fastball.
Once she learns how to control that shit.
Once she learns how to control it, get out of the way.
It's a pretty good analogy, actually.
Once she gets her sweet glasses with the with the skull and crossbones on them, she's gonna be unstoppable.
She's Charlie Sheen. Once she gets her tiger blood, she can watch out. When they first get back, you find out that Leanne's been left out, and she kind of is like, "Hey, what's going on? You don't leave me out of everything, or out of anything." And she starts to bring her in more and more, and unfortunately for Leanne, which actually it works out for her because she kind of shares Swan's fate. And if she didn't know anything about it, it would have been way worse. You're like, this poor girl would have had something happen to her in the future, and she would have had no idea why. But she was kind of in on the conspiracy, but it was towards the end.
Is Leanne good?
Yeah, she's good.
We can trust her? Okay.
She's trustable.
Okay, that's cool.
Some other people mentioned in this chapter are fucking not.
And the whippings, really? You're whipping potential Aes Sedais?
I know, right?
Grow up, White Tower. Grow up. Do they actually get switched?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's...
What does she say? She's like, what does Sue say? She's like, I'll make you sorry the day your father first. It's like that, like jerked off and came down your leg status insult. Is that what that is? Or
you leave the tower? That's a pat.
She has a lot of like fish people's sexual innuendo.
That's all there is.
Oh, it's a slippery bag of eels. That sounds like a bag of dicks.
There are so many. Like, I can't believe I think I picked up on it before, but I thought it was a Robert Jordan thing. I didn't realize that that's Suen Sanchez like go-to as all of her fucking fishing metaphor. When you don't have a proper oar, a plank of wood will work just fine.
Yeah, when you don't have a man, just slap yourself with a dildo. A dildo. Dude, you know what though? Elaine gains your respect in this little clip too, because she's just like you can tell she's terrified of her mom, but she's like, I'm not gonna go back. In the next one, we'll probably get to that next week, but it's like her and Elaine are Gwen are talking, and they're like, I'll run away with you because I'm not gonna let him steal me. She's like, will you teach me how to live in a village?
Yeah, that's
fucking
right.
Classic, dude.
Teach me how to be a poor person.
Yeah, and they're definitely
gotta
like,
live on ramen.
All three of them are more powerful, and Egwene especially because she has the experience.
Is Elaine really powerful too?
Super powerful. She's right up there with Egwene.
Really?
She's right up there with Egwene, and Nynaeve's more powerful than both of them. But
Wow. Why is Elaine so powerful? Just cause?
Just cause.
just random. Well, her mom has a little bit of the spark, but she couldn't channel a lot. So it's been a thing in their family where like she's the first one that has the spark born, and she's super strong.
That's another thing my daughter and I were talking about the other day, because Elaine says, Galad is not my brother. And so she's like, whatever, she's totally your brother. We started going into how people are related. My daughter's like, wait, what? It's not quite Game of Thrones, but it's kind of Game of Thrones.
It's pretty close. So Morghese, back to the show. Morghese was in Tarvalin. Do you think there is a certain someone who sent her there, or do you think maybe he's waiting for her when she gets back and maybe has like asserted himself a little bit in her absence?
No, that is actually brought up. There's like riots, and then he like gathers up all the people and then actually fights them off, and then that's when she comes back. They're like
She comes back from Tarvalin. Okay.
She comes back from Tarvalin, and yeah, that's how she gets in with, or he gets in with her.
But she leaves Elida in Tarvalin on her own then. Elida sucks. Think about it, dude. Think about what she falls prey to later on. She's fucking stupid.
Yeah, she is pretty stupid.
Elida sucks, dude. Elida sucks. Shiriam fucking sucks. Leandrin sucks.
I think that, I really do think that they're not going to have Elida. I think everything's going to be Leandrin. I really do.
I mean, it would be pretty easy to do, but you're going to have Shiriam, dude, or someone like her. What about Alviarian? Or Alviarin? Like, you can combine a lot of those characters, but I feel like they would have them just to represent the other Ajahs.
Yeah, that's possible. But at some point, you just have to.
She's the only white Ajah who's even remotely mentioned or important.
That's absolutely true.
So you can't have a whole show with all these weavings in the fucking. I mean, you as you always say, yes, you can.
You can do whatever they
They
want.
can do whatever the fuck they want because they've already done that. But I feel like it would be to not have the white Ajah represented at least a little bit somewhere. That seems weird because the yellow Ajahs get represented with the healing. The red Ajahs are very prominent already in the show. So are the greens. We haven't seen any greens, grays, or whites yet.
We've seen white Ajah. None of them can be her?
They could be, but I just feel like she's an important enough a character that they might have said something, but maybe not.
There's the one white Ajah that we see in the bathhouse.
She's blue. The one that talks to Moraine is a blue.
The one with the short hair?
Yeah, the Scottish accent.
Oh, that's right, because she's leader of the Blues, and she's the one that tries to lock Moraine down, getting her.
Hey, obviously, you got to lock that down. Obviously.
Gotta lock that down.
Yeah, so she's already meeting Suan in the world of dreams. Better put a ring on that shit.
There was the last episode of The Last of Us, and a few of the episodes, we were talking about how you can do a show that represents what people want to see, but also then expanding on it. I think they do such a good job on that.
That show is really good. I didn't watch this weekend's episode yet, so
if you do the side by sides, a lot of the game, and it's almost word for word.
It's crazy.
The settings are almost exactly the same, and then they expand on things, and they have to take certain things out. But that's what's called and the music. The music is the music from the game. And it's really good.
Dude, the whole truck scene where she's got the porno and she's like, how do you even walk around with that thing? That's straight from the game.
Straight from the game, yes. Even the Chevy S10 that they drive is the same colors, yes.
But you don't know where they get the Chevy S10. So that whole storyline with the two dudes is not part of the game. That's written in.
No, that's in there.
Standalone.
It's in there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's just not as expanded.
God, that was so good. It's like fucking, I sat there and fucking cried during that end of that movie, that show, or that episode. I was like, God damn, man.
But what I was saying was they have this, and they're giving you what's called fan service. These are the scenes that people want to see, the scenes that have impacted people from the game. And you took that and you went, you know what? People are going to really want to see this.
And they did it perfectly.
We want the same thing with the book. We want the same things with these books, and they did it well. We want to do the same thing with this book, man.
See, and like it started off strong because the farmhouse scene, like while there was only one Trolloc, I still thought it was awesome.
Sure.
I wish I would have seen a little bit more Tam with the sword. Maybe see him fight a Trolloc in the woods or something. That'd be great. But for the most part, that was great. And then seeing what you get to see on winter night in the town and everything is great because that's something that you don't.
And then Shadow Logoth, that was pretty good too.
Yeah, I dug Shadow Logoth. I think they could have done it a little better. I think they could have met up, but with more death or whatever. But, I get it. Those were the ones, and then what else? There was other ones that you wanted to see and you didn't get it. Like the fish flopping scene, Rand and Ishmael at the end. No traveling or anything like that. And I kind of get why they couldn't.
COVID.
Yeah, I kind of get why they couldn't do it. Like I was really upset at first, and I get why they couldn't do it. But, there was like the ways were good. I like the ways.
We should do some hunting. I wonder if we can find any original scripts, like the scripts that they finished before COVID was a thing. It'd be really fucking interesting.
That would be interesting to see what they had an idea of. Yeah, what were they trying to do?
That would be really good. Well, because Des, I think it was you that said that Rafe had a majorly different kind of idea for what he wanted to do, and then some shit happened, and they had the fish flop scene, and he cried, or whatever.
No, I
think that was the scene you were talking about.
That was the editor. He said that they had a whole, for the Blight, they had a place picked out. They were going to go there, and in the end, they couldn't because of the whole COVID thing. Yeah, ridiculous too. My God, when you look back, dude,
that sucks.
So yeah, I just kind of realized this. As far as me picking this chapter, it kind of speaks for itself. I just think this is important because obviously Egwene and Nynaeve are going to get into some shit.
Oh yeah,
and we're going to want to know why they're getting into that shit, and this kind of helps spell that out.
And Elaine's going to tag along too.
Yeah, she gets roped in a chapter. She gets roped in pretty quick.
Well, she's just kind of like, you guys aren't going to do this without me. And that they are kind of like, well, how the Amaryllin's like, you guys are the only two I can trust to be 100%. You guys are not Black Ajah. Elaine is that for them because they're like, you're the only other person that we know for a fact is not Black Ajah.
Yeah.
So, and she's basically like, you son of a bitch, I'm in. I do love when Suan Sanche is saying Black Ajah. It's like she's just eating a shit sandwich. I can just picture the face. It's just like, Black Ajah. Ugh.
This happened under your watch.
Yeah. She gets a lot of blame for that shit. A lot of hate.
Suan
from Arkansas.
Suan Sanchez.
So the Potts thing is just a cover, right? So that she can come yell at him.
Yeah. Well, they have to be seen being punished.
Yeah, they did a punishable offense, and they're not full. Like that's just boilerplate White Tower bullshit.
I guess I understand why they're a little pissed off. It's like we got lured.
The fact that they get whipped, though.
They're not whipped, okay? They
But you get lured out by some shitbag, and you went through enough shit. She was Damani. She got whipped a lot.
Yeah, she was fucking taken captive.
Yeah, she had bad stuff go down.
No, it was bad.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, they put her like boiling needles.
Insult to injury.
And then you're like, oh, now you're gonna get back and get shit on too. So
they get switched, and that's not cool.
Wow. Did you really just say that? Guess what? Getting switched is getting whipped, and it is kind of like that.
No, it's not.
Wow.
No, it's not. Listen, it is not the same thing. Not even close.
Okay, 30 lashes. Depends on what you're getting whipped with.
Someone's daddy switched him, and he's trying to cover her. It's not that bad. It's not.
But I was never whipped.
He never hit me with the buckle. I mean, I got the belt.
You get whipped with a belt. My wife says she's going to whip me with the belt if we don't fucking hurry up.
She was very kind to wait until 10 o'clock, so
we can shut it down.
We can do her that favor.
She said, TikTok, motherfucker, it's 10:01.
That's what I say, bitch.
Thank the Light for listening to our podcast. Please rate us, like us, tell a friend about our show. Thank the Light. Check us out on Twitter. We are Wolf Brothers at Parsailman. That is Wolf Brothers at Parsailman. Send us questions, comments, anything you want to hear us yammer on about, Wheel of Time or otherwise. Send that to thankthelight@gmail.com. That is thankthelight@gmail.com. If you're looking for another great podcast to listen to while you wait for the next fabulous episode of Thank the Light, head on over to whatsoundsawesome.com and check out our great podcast lineup. We have comedy and spirituality, time travel movies. We're doing Ant-Man and Wasp this week, people. Fitness and nutrition, and awesome women in the form of All the Answers, Truth Not Trends, Time Pop, Be Brave, and That Fitness Couple. You can find them at whatsoundsawesome.com or wherever you find fine, free podcasts. On that note, I'm just sitting around here fingering my notebook.
I mean, yeah. What else is there to say?
I just realized how much that's a Robert Jordan thing. He says fingering. Fingering his sword tip, he does a lot of fingering.
Yeah, he fingered the haft of his spear is what he says sometimes, and that's upsetting.
It's usually Perrin fingering the edge of his axe too.
Yeah, or the elongated spike of his axe.
Which is not where you want to put your finger.
Yeah, you guys are disgusting. Please favor your sword. Good night now.
Yeah. You know what we haven't said in a long time is hashtag Billy Zane as Asmodean.
I am not average, I am not ordinary, I am a masterpiece, you know I do it for me, I am not perfect, no that's imaginary, but I'm a masterpiece, you know I do it for me, and all my colors and paints, all my lines and my shapes, every move that I make, I am not basic, it's self-explanatory, I am a masterpiece, you know I do it for me. Just the way I like it, yeah.
Yeah, when I first heard, I'll save it for the end.
You are the editor. You can put it wherever you want.
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.
You gotta